In the 1930s, a young J.R.R Tolkien, raising his children, was in the process of telling them a fascinating bedtime story about halflings, wizards, goblins, and dwarves, and a pesky dragon. That children's story became what we now know as The Hobbit. And little did he know that this work would become so woven later on into the legendarium of his work called the Silmarillion that it would become the foundation of what we now know as the Lord of the Rings. At the beginning of The Hobbit, there and back again, the Bilbo Baggins, the protagonist of the plot, is a hobbit who is comfortable in his hobbit hole. There he lives a life of creature comforts, of fresh food, of lounging, of smoking, of having simply a time of agrarian quiet and communal stillness. Well, one morning, when he is seated outside his hobbit hole, outside the door of that place, he is interrupted, one might even say rudely interrupted, by the wizard Gandalf the Grey, who quite unceremoniously invites himself, and if memory serves, I would say about 13 dwarves. Sure, I'm going to get some comments about the number of dwarves in the section. To be invited to Bilbo's house to thrust Bilbo onto the quest to Erebor, to the Lonely Mountain, to defeat the dragon Smaug. Now, at this root cellar, as I'm here at this doorway of sorts, we could meditate on how our lives, like Bilbo Baggins's, are often interrupted by a wizard or prophet-like character like Gandalf, thrusting us out of the womb-like simplicity of the rhythm of day-to-day life into the extraordinary, into the realm of supernatural danger, thinking of goblins, or into the realm of almost angelic light, thinking of the elves. And in this way, we actually do see stories in our lives which mirror this. We live in a supernatural world, inhabited by far more than what we can see, smell, touch, or taste. In 1917, in Portugal, 3 young shepherd children, Lucia, Francesco, and Jacinta, claimed to have personal encounters with heavenly creatures, with angels, and of course with the mother of Jesus, Mary. And these supernatural adventures thrust them out of their hobbit hole, out of their tending of sheep, actually, into being prophets, witnesses of resurrection power themselves. What is quite unique about this experience is that what we have encountered in their story is how the supernatural came thrusting through, how on October the 13th, 1917, how the sun blazed red and crimson, appeared to nearly collide with Earth, in front of at least 75,000 people. Some will even up that number to nearly 1 million, given how many people in neighboring villages saw what is now called the miracle of the sun. Now, we ourselves may not have a Gandalf at our door according to the flesh. We might not necessarily have a miraculous apparition of Mary, although I do believe that these events do occur and have occurred quite frequently, actually, in modern times. But we can certainly say that the Holy Spirit, through friends, through mentors, through loved ones, are always urging us in the doorway of our life, will we embark on the adventure, on the quest, there and back again, into the supernatural, into God's abiding presence? To quote The Hobbit, to wear a sword instead of a walking stick. Now, there are some perils to carrying a sword. It means learning how to wield one. It means reaching out beyond the comforts of the Shire. both Bilbo and Frodo, in the work of J.R.R Tolkien, find themselves certainly in positions where they wish they could go back to the way things were. But the reality is stagnation is never possible for the hero's journey, no. For to say no to the call to adventure is not simply to go on as things have always done, but to wither and die. Life, to quote another work of fiction, will always find a way. And God will always find a way, yes, to love us where we are at, but also to never leave us where we are at. Bilbo Baggins returns home strange. He returns home having met with dwarves and having conversed with a dragon. His clothes are unusual, and he's considered an oddity in his own town. He is not left untouched by the spiritual journey. Those of us who profess to be Christians, to be disciples of Jesus, who have professed a personal relationship with Jesus, who believe that we have been born again, are our lives left touched and moved where people can see a difference, as Bilbo Baggins's own companions could see a difference in him after his return to the Shire? Can they say of us that we were presumed dead, as Bilbo was, only to appear alive again, and alive in a new way? Have our values changed? Or do we still value only what we can hold, only what we can purchase, only what we can consume? Or do we have our eyes, as Bilbo has his eyes set on the transcendent, upon the stories of old sitting by the fireplace, and meeting with heroes of the next generation, like the Dunedain with Aragorn? J.R.R Tolkien never thought his children's story would reshape the Christian imagination of generations. And yet one good story can and has changed the world. How much more, in the words of Tolkien, does the true myth, does the true story of the Word become flesh in our own history? How much has that narrative personally moved our lives? On this channel, we have explored the archaeological and historical evidence for the Holy Scriptures. But of course, we must realize, in addition, how these narratives personally affect our own walk in lives. Inspired by this, may this doorway embark for us the very beginning of our own journey, there and back again, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. May we say, the road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road is gone, and I must follow it if I can.